Welcome back, everyone. This is Anne from Autism Supermoms, and we were just discussing employment and ASD with Maisie, the founder of ASD Career Pathways. I'm going to invite Maisie back in.
Okay, we're back.
Welcome back, Maisie. Sorry for the little delay. I was just having a
And no
little,
worries. I know it takes time to
little sip of coffee.
exactly. Yeah.
So we've covered, I just want to make sure we've covered all the points that you had mentioned. I
Sure.
just have my bullet points here. So we were
Yeah.
talking, I guess we should go back for anyone new to joining. Is
Yeah.
just briefly describing what your mission is and what the nonprofit organization ASD Career Pathways is exactly.
Autism Career Pathways is a nonprofit in San Francisco Bay Area, and we want to figure out the how-tos for small to medium-sized businesses. Why small to medium-sized businesses? Because these are workplaces that are actually much more suitable for neurodivergent people who are more impacted by their neurodifferences. And I'm talking about all the mom and pop shops in our community. So that's our how-tos. We really want to help people who are talented in different ways that are not like tech, not in tech, you know. So there are lots of neurodivergent people who are just so gifted in their own ways, and
Absolutely.
so that's our mission.
So right now with COVID, what does it look like in terms of being a young person needing coaching supports, training supports, just help in order to get to a point where they can have some kind of employment?
So I think, okay, that's a really good question, in terms of employability preparation, I suppose. Today, right?
A nightmare, I would assume.
Yes. So I think I could divide this into the age group. I think if you're parents of a young neurodivergent child, I think you want to make sure you balance the day every day, you know. So I think when you have a cranky kid, your kid's not going to be able to learn in the evening. You can't really invite your child to help you do stuff together and develop and nurture communication, and just really that attachment is very, very important. Having an unconditional love and secure relationship at home, that's really important.
Huge.
And you may ask me, what does it have anything to do with being employed? And my child is 3 and you're wanting me to work on employability skills. But this is the answer to that, because when we look, you could Google employability skills for 21st century and you'll come up with different kinds of lists, and what's on that list is actually a list of goals it can be applicable to any parents. And it is actually our job to raise our kids to become great human beings. So you'll see on those goals would be a great communicator, right? It could be somebody who can think outside of the box, somebody who knows how to connect with other people, how to mentor other people. These are the things that actually we cannot see with our eyes, the skills and the abilities that we cannot measure through behaviors. Right. How do we help our kids to develop resilience? By doing stuff with them.
By being a team with them, and by
that's right.
And by sort of I want to say, like, teaching that failure is okay, and it's part of the learning process, and we don't have to be
Yeah.
perfect.
Right. So here in California, the government agency supporting people with disabilities and their families, they have this program called self-determination. So when you turn 21, you can apply for this, and then it's just like a monthly allowance to be able to work with a professional to help them for, towards employability and so on, quality of life.
Right.
But here's the problem. This is another disconnect, right? Self-determination means that you understand yourself as a person to be able to self-advocate.
Yes.
So to be able to self-advocate, you really have to embrace yourself. So the process of self-acceptance
and self-awareness, and then
yes.
being able to express it and have other people really understand it. That sounds like it's extremely difficult.
Because it's a personal experience. So if we're raising our kids dependent on other people to tell us what to do,
right,
we don't have that gut feeling as a mom to, okay, well, maybe I can work on this particular goal in our own way, right? And how do we help our children to believe in themselves and to know that, okay, some things are difficult for me, but I can do a workaround.
Yes, and do other things.
Right. That is self-advocacy. Right. Exactly. So that what I'm saying is that the whole process of self-acceptance starts very, very early on.
Right.
And a diagnosis is nothing without self-acceptance.
Right. That's huge. That is a huge step, is it not? And like, I guess there's no general rule of as to age when this happens.
You just it's a process. It's a process. And this is how we can empower our kids to be able to be themselves.
Yes.
Right? So when I say about balance, your therapeutic choices and how your day is scheduled, you as a parent, you have to really observe your child and respect in a respectful way. You want to question, actually, as parents, we have to question, like, why are we doing this program? Why are we
Oh, sorry to interrupt, dear Maisie. I've got someone asking if they may state a question. Yes,
sure. Yeah, of course.
I'm not great at multitasking, so if we miss anything, I'll ask Maisie when you have time, if you wouldn't mind going back and having a quick look. But I'm gonna do my best. And sorry to interrupt you right there.
No worries. Go ahead. What was the question?
So, it is. I'm waiting to see it. I'm gonna let you continue, Maisie, because I don't see it right now.
Oh, we also missed a couple of questions earlier.
We might have missed a couple, yes.
But my parent coaching Instagram is just my name at Macy Sotancio. So if they're parents of little kids, that's where I post videos if I get a video that my client gives me.
Yes.
So I just try. Okay, so any questions? We should just ask anybody have questions.
I just wanted to ask you, Maisie, with your Instagram account, at ASD Career Pathways, like how many interviews do you have, and how many videos do you have that others can tap into for more information about you?
ASD Career Pathways, it's really about helping people to think outside of the box when it comes to their career explorations. So I do interview series that I called Career Exchange Forum. So I have a YouTube platform for that, Autism Career Pathways, where you can just listen to people, autistic people, talking about their job as a tattoo artist, as an author, as a toffee maker, just all kinds of possible careers.
Excellent.
Yes, before,
Excellent.
you know, so because my hope is like, before you spend money to go to school for certain things, and then you realize, oh, I don't really, I hate being a teacher.
Yes, you need to feel inspired and find your place, find your passion, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And then just for parents to be able to think outside of the box.
Yes.
And when it comes to jobs, this is also an important message maybe for parents of older kids, people who, if they have a loved one who has more sensory challenges, home businesses is great.
Yes.
You know,
yes. I was going to ask you about that. That was actually my next question. Like, what percentage of people are coming to you with ideas and they just want to work at home?
I wish that people come to me with ideas, because I love helping a group of moms to like get together and brainstorm, for example. So as I mentioned before, I design a career assessment tool, and it's done. So my wish is to actually teach small businesses to use this tool when they're about to hire somebody, because it would be very useful for them to be able to actually see the person. So what comes out of this career assessment tool is a video portfolio. Right. And a short summary for the young adult, for the parents, as well as for businesses. So they can take that video summary when they apply for a job.
That is a fantastic idea.
Yeah. So I digress. What was I going to say?
Yes. I'm sorry, I got interrupted.
Okay. No, that's okay.
Well,
so
going back.
So I remember what it is. I remember. I was about to say, having a meaningful career can be in so many different ways. The important thing is it's meaningful for your loved ones. Yes. So my favorite example, of course, is Big Al, Alex. He's 28. And I knew him since I was 3 years old. Oh, wow. And yes, I was his ABA supervisor. Oh, and now, he owns a very successful toffee company. You know, so it's, he sells toffee at markets, for events. You know, he's very independent doing it. You know, if you ask him, what do you do with your money? Do you like working? He cannot necessarily verbally describe it to you, but he loves getting paid. And, you know, so of course, but he loves being, I think, all kinds, like all of us, we want to have a sense of belonging. We want to have a sense of productivity, and that's different for everyone. Yes. You know, so if your loved one is more impacted, communication wise, it doesn't mean that they don't want to work. Right. You know, you just have to help them explore which way. And work doesn't mean full time. You know, and that's the benefit of
it's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah. In fact, I think we do better if it's just a little bit of everything. Like, so if we have multiple types of jobs, like projects, we do better with projects. Right. So, you know, so I love helping a group of parents to really explore, what does that look like? You know, and how can we nurture that? How can we develop special interest pathways? Yes.
So is there a huge problem when you say that? So there might be people that are working like part-time, like a few
at home
hours a week at home. Like, are there a lot of people like living in poverty? Is this like
absolutely? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Goes hand in
hand. It's tough. In America, I think there are many autistic adults who live on you know, social security and government support,
Mm-hmm.
and they're afraid to lose it.
Right.
So they don't necessarily want to get a job because then they would lose the benefit, you
So
know.
huge kind of catch-22 situation
Yeah, yeah,
for many people. Like
yeah.
how do you get around that, like with these individuals?
It's not easy. For example, artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a ton of autistic women who makes this beautiful jewelry,
Yes.
uh, but you know, to sell these type of stuff like a
Mm-hmm.
painting and things
Right.
like that,
Mm-hmm.
uh it's seasonal. It's just it's not a steady income,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I think it's tough. I think to make a living as an artist in general, it's really
It's
tough.
very tough in general.
And then when you're autistic, you don't know how to communicate, you don't know how to do the promotion and things like that. So
It's a lot.
yeah,
It's
it's a lot.
like the
It's a
whole
lot.
from start to finish, all the different
Mhm.
steps
Mhm.
and just the, I guess, executive functioning skills, that you know,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
completion, and it's
Yeah.
more than just creating art. But I would
Mhm.
imagine a lot of
Mhm.
individuals that are highly creative,
Mhm.
they just want to do the creative part, and the rest seems like a huge chore, you know, like the
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, what one idea I suggest all the time is for like a group of for you can create one specific product,
right.
and you can do like sell a curated
Mm-hmm.
box, like a
Right.
gift box is a really nice idea,
Yes. Yes.
right? So one organization can just make soaps and lotions, for
Yes, I was
example.
thinking of that.
Yeah,
Yes, there's a
yes.
lot of individuals highly successful at that.
Uh-huh.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So then you can just put all these products together,
Mm-hmm.
because to put together many products is difficult, you know. But if we have
Yes.
Alex's toffee, for example,
Yes.
and we put it together with his cards, he also
Mm-hmm.
sells his beautiful cards with his calligraphy,
Oh,
handwriting.
yeah.
So that would make a great teacher's gift, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like should put together a website
Yes,
where
absolutely.
a group of parents can manage
Mm-hmm.
their loved one creating a product with
Mm-hmm.
beautiful packaging, and then another home will create, and then you put it together, you
Yes.
know. I knew somebody in Canada
Mm-hmm.
who does this, and he does it for brides. Have you? I should.
We need to
Yeah,
find them. Send me that.
I will.
Yes.
They're super nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We must get in touch and also
Hmm.
with Al. Like, what's his company? The coffee company.
So Big Al, his company is called Big Al's Best,
Okay. We
and they're
will.
in San Diego. But
Okay.
unfortunately, they cannot ship the toffee.
Yes.
But I'm sure you have people in that area, and
I'm
you know,
sure we have a
yeah,
lot
yeah, exactly,
in your
exactly.
area too, as well. And you know, so it's
Yeah, yeah.
but something that you mentioned earlier, Maisie, is just I think your area seems to be, when you think of Silicon Valley, is
Hmm.
seems like more ahead of the rest of the country. Maybe is that like
No, I
no?
don't think so.
Okay,
I
because
don't think so.
we have this image that there are certain, I think there's certain companies we feel that they are just doing, I guess maybe just a handful of companies that are doing better in terms of
Hmm.
hiring.
I think if you
Autistic.
have the skills
Mm-hmm.
that they're looking for, and really
That's it.
that's just not very many people, honestly. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
the tech skills, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I think Australia is
Mm-hmm.
one country who has a lot of great employability initiatives.
Oh, wow.
But we're just all over the world,
Yeah.
I think, you know. But I think the best platforms are the ones who really take into consideration
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, designing something
Mm-hmm.
that allows that neurodivergent to be authentic.
Yes.
You
And yes,
need to be allowed to be yourself. Yeah.
I was gonna say being yourself and being accepted for what your strengths are and what your needs are. That is basically the bottom line for respecting one another, is and one another's differences. And that shouldn't be too much to ask, but it seems that it's still a long ways to go. In terms of work.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the stigma is very hard to break.
How do we break the stigma that exists?
That's a good question. I think, believe it or not, I think the answer to that is on us as parents and the way we look at our children, the way we perceive our children. You know, I think that the way we fall in love with our kids' differences, the way we speak about them, the way we raise them up.
Yes, that's huge.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you feel that we can make a big difference by getting others to understand the different comorbid conditions, like the anxiety and just all the different things, like sensory processing differences seem to be so underestimated or misunderstood, it seems.
Yeah, but I think this is where I think as parents, we really have to understand the sensory differences. If you're talking about autism, like all of us are wired differently with our sensory perceptions. So that's a big one. I think just really learning from autistic adults, it's huge. There are a lot of information on social media. So I would say my favorite Facebook group that's led by autistic adults. I think Autistic Not Weird, that's really great. It has huge followers, and Asperger's is another one where you could just ask any questions and people would answer. I mean, you don't need, I tell parents, don't follow so many social media outlets because it's overwhelming.
I was going to say
it's overwhelming.
And it's impossible. Honestly, Maisie, it's impossible to do your job as a caregiver and spend hours and hours with a lot of social media. It becomes really, it's exhausting.
Exactly. It's hard, but listening to autistic adults, it's important because
it's crucial.
It's crucial. Yeah, because you have to help your loved ones to find their own community someday. And I think autistic adults, you just need a few supportive accounts, and I would say stay away from like behavioral stuff, like all these online platforms that just tries to tell you what to do, but basically trying to change your person's neurodivergence, because then that's why the world is missing out, because you can't you can't change our mind.
It's like it's the same with a lot of things. Like they're going to be who they are going to be, and there are certain things that have to be accepted, that in the way that there's certain things that you can help, like in terms of like helping your child to be more independent or have certain skills, but there are things that you have to accept that might never change, and that is just ingrained in the person.
Right. So the reason that when you think about it, if you want your young adult loved one to work, the first question that this person needs to be able to communicate by showing, a lot of times if they're minimally verbal, is if someone asks you, who are you? Tell me about you. And if that person don't know who you are, self-advocacy is not going to happen.
And a huge challenge for for non-verbal individuals and minimally verbal individuals to get their point across, I would assume.
Yes, because of the stigma, but they do that in a different way, though. That's why I created this career assessment tool, because they do it they are incredible. They have incredible work ethics. They can show you their employability qualities.
And it just is in a different manner, a different style. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's key, is to give them a place that they can actually like create a profile and be and take that with them. In order to gain employment.
So we're building a platform within ASD Career Pathways down the road to be able to do that, to house people's video resumes, and then like businesses can come. You know, it's really hard to entice businesses to knock on our door. We knock on their doors and it's shut, but for them to come knocking on our doors,
voluntarily. I wonder how that's going to take some time.
It takes time
to change the way of thinking, and just what do you think it is? Do you think there's just like a certain amount of fear, or
you know, again,
something?
people don't know what they don't know, you know. I think businesses, when they hear the word autism, they immediately think, well, is it, how much time do we need to spend to teach this you know, autistic person, and also safety, as this person is going to be safety, you know, bring a safety issue into our workplace, you know, things like that. There's a lot of misconceptions and myths about neurodivergent people, not just autistic people. You know, so I think everyone has their own personal biases. As parents, we have that, you know, and we just have to be aware of it and break it, you know.
I guess, we still have a long way to go, honestly. I think, Maisie, with the way in the media, the certain stereotypes of what autistic individuals look like. And it's, you can't necessarily recognize yourself, right? Like as a child on the spectrum, they're not seeing themselves yet.
They're not seeing themselves, because everything is appraised by someone else's standard, whether it's by the parent standard or the therapist's standard, that by their teachers at school, employment specialists. So it's just very, very unfortunate that autistic people have a hard time really digging deep. I mean, that's a process that's difficult anyways for any human being, you know, but you throw in, you know, neuro differences. It just, we're late bloomers, I suppose.
Well,
I hope we bloom at some point.
And there's nothing to apologize for. It just is the way it is, you know. It's like it's the responsibility of society to do more and understand more.
Exactly.
And be open to listening to individuals that are able to educate us. So it's a two-way process. It's not, you know.
It is.
It's a hard thing.
It's exactly.
A hard thing, isn't it?
Exactly. It's a hard thing, but obviously, I think it falls on us as parents to really do the deep digging. Like, who are we as a person first?
Yes, exactly.
You know, and when we find out our best traits, we want to somehow pass along the best part of ourselves as a person first to our kids, you know, and nobody, the professionals don't tell a newly diagnosed parents of an autistic kid, you know what, your kid is autistic, but guess what? There's so much you can do at home as his mommy, you know, but he needs the same thing that every child needs at this age, is unconditional love.
They still need that. Yes. The whole, it seems a little like doom and gloom, right? When you get the way it's presented to parents.
It's only doom and gloom. It's just, it's difficult. Yeah. And no wonder parents are send into a huge panic mode. It's like fire alarm times 10, because that report, your child is reduced to like 10 pages report with a checklist at the end. That's what I always see today.
It's
you
depressing
know
to read,
yeah
isn't it?
yeah
It's too much. Yeah, it's hard. It's really
yeah, and educational goals, like IEP goals here in America, it's like that. Everything is about changing the behavior. And there's the scary thing is when I see an IEP goals, it looks the same as 30 years ago. It's so scary.
Yeah.
It's nothing evolves. Like
Yeah.
like these professionals and educators, where have they been? Hiding under the rock? Like, don't you? This is why I question all this, because I'm autistic. Like, I just knew it in my gut feeling. This is not right. This is not right. Yeah,
and
it's very
I
hard.
just think that I guess the whole process is not really designed to fit every different need, and that's the problem, isn't it? It's just getting to a point where there is flexibility and where there are options that meet every individual, and that's such a big huge task, because everyone is so diverse and so different. But
exactly. And I know many autistic adults who they need medication, they have panic attacks, they just have meltdowns and shutdowns, and it's heartbreaking, and
exhausting on them. And then I would assume that it could take time to recover and feel that you're up to doing what is supposedly expected of you, and that's a very hard process to go through.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think for parents, you just have to slow down and really change your mindset from fixing to growth mindset.
Yeah. Hard thing.
Yeah. It's very hard.
Focus on the positive and focus on supporting what will bring about their best lives, because we all just want a more fulfilling life. And it's a hard thing, to get to a point where it's a tremendous task for everyone. It's such a huge job to be a caregiver as well as a parent. Like, parenting is a huge job, in itself.
And even for me, we have a lot of psychology books, this book and that book, because I'm required to read those to keep up with my work. But when it comes to raising, my kid, nothing fits. And I'm a professional. I'm a little bit more equipped. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, so nothing prepares you for life other than you have to experience things. So
that's right. That's right. So here is my son is nonverbal, severely autistic. I treat him like any of my other children, right? Yeah.
As much as you can, right? As much as you can.
So that's awesome. I admire you for really setting expectations and doing that. And so a good question would be, how do we raise our kids with a thick skin? Because we cannot control what happens outside of our home. And
it's like we're all different. Like, it's okay to be sensitive to certain things. It just, my feelings get hurt with certain things. Like, I haven't figured that out either. Like,
right.
How would you get a thicker skin? That is, it's tough.
But the answer to that is that when your loved one knows that at home, I can be myself, at home, that my whole family is behind me.
Right.
That is what is good. That's the shield.
Yes. It is.
That is the shield. So when they go out, they will, and they're not treated right, they will come home and tell you. about it.
Yes.
The first thing they do is they tell you, because there's trust at home.
Yes.
You know,
and also they'll, in the first place, they will be aware that the way they're treated is wrong. And
that's right.
you know, because
That's
I
right.
would assume that if you have grown up in an environment that is so negative and so,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
that
It has the
you,
opposite effect.
you know, you don't know any different, and that's all
Right.
you know.
Yes.
You know, so
exactly.
so
Exactly.
then it's understandable why you would feel that the world is very harsh, and it's understandable why some people may even feel bitter about certain things too. So it's just I think it's a lot harder for a lot of kids, that, and you're adding like things like anxiety and social anxiety and so many different things, like really you were saying, Maisie, just to go back, that if you are a kid basically at the beginning and perhaps in a bad place, like you were saying that you support kids as young as 12, like what does that look like with your organization? And like, can they go online and find, you know, a starting point?
Yeah, of course. I think that if we do get the grant, if not, I'm still going to design a family curriculum designed to develop growth mindset and exploring special interests together as a family, and working on developing a career workbook as a family. That's a work in progress that the whole family can do together. We could definitely do that as early as when the employment part. I think that people should start as early as 12. So when I do have that, I will let you know.
Yes.
The online classes, but really the whole process starts as early as possible.
I was gonna say, maybe because you're dealing with onset of puberty, that's already difficult.
It's difficult.
It's even beneficial to start earlier in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say that the anxiety and the rigidity, a lot of that is actually the expression of other stuff that's going on. So if somebody is overscheduled, for example, the way they gain a sense of control is by maybe becoming very, very rigid with the schedule or the clothes they wear or the food that they eat. Because, you know, so think about that. So anxiety is often a byproduct of their lack of the feeling of failure, the feeling of like not loved at home, not being accepted, you know, not able to communicate. Of course, you're going to be anxious and be fearful.
Makes sense.
Yes, and autistic people have this very strong sense of other people's energy. And the moment,
highly intuitive and highly
exactly
and sensitive, maybe, like as a generalization, but not doesn't mean in a bad way, but it means that it can affect you more in terms of how you can manage.
So exactly, so we absorb other people's energy level and stress level. So if as parents your anxiety is heightened and every day you just go kids, especially kids who are pre-verbal, they are very much affected by that. You know, and
point. So we really have to work on our own issues and our own sort of the way we appear to others within our home, and it's a huge thing. But like what was interesting was you were saying is the whole food issue. Like with anxiety, it seems like if so much, I would imagine if you're autistic, correct me if I'm wrong, if you perceive so much as being unpredictable and so much in your life being kind of out of control, then you're going to cling on to the few things that you can control.
Yes, exactly.
And so I think in a lot of ways that might I'm not sure what the statistics are, but things like I think eating disorders and things are pretty
Eating
common
disorder.
and so it's interesting, isn't it? How
Yeah. So masking is, I'm sure you've heard of the word masking.
Yes.
Many autistic girls and women, because the
Yes.
autistic expression is different in female, and we do want to be social, and we mask at a very, very early on, and
it's basically still like the gender, the way boys are raised and girls are raised is still sort of, it's very different, isn't it? It's
right.
still, so it's I guess there's a different way of girls being brought up than boys, and it's I guess the expectations that you got to, is it still correct to say that we still have a lot of pressure that we've got to sort of be nice and polite and nice and not really,
boys will be boys, girls will be girls. I actually, earlier we talked about personal biases, and gendered expectations is definitely, I definitely experienced that.
Yes. Can you give an example, Maisie?
Like, I think that in Asia, girls, well, I turned 50 this year, so I'm older than most people here, perhaps.
Congratulations.
But exactly. But I remember that I was expected to learn some skills as a little girl.
Right.
And certain things like in some ways, maybe I was told to hide and not become so talkative. In some ways it actually made me hide, even I was hidden even more. We like some skills like riding a bike, I was told that it's okay if you don't know how to ride a bike. So I don't know how to ride a bike to today because I was never pushed to be able to do it. So when I have the hypermobility in my joints. So I fell a lot when I was little. I was just very clumsy. So of course, riding a bike, tried a few times, and I just always came home bloody. Like I just couldn't, I don't have very good balance. And it's just like I've been injured because of the hypermobility, just the way my joints are connected. So there are things like that. And I was taught to be soft-spoken. I was taught to initiate in a certain way, to reciprocate in a certain way. And social situations, I think in some ways it was just unknown to me. And fortunately, I had girlfriends at school who were the opposite. They were the superstars. They lived for the spotlight, and they allow me to just, they did all the talking for me.
Oh, wow.
And until I did get better, I think socially, I did get better. But I think,
sorry to interrupt, that offers everyone a lot of hope that you found, like, it's like that was your strategy. You found mentors in a way, friends in a way, and they helped you. It was a process that you became, came out of your shell more, so to speak.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think what saved me was finding my special interests. So I just kind of, like, I've been sticking to that, and I love doing it. And this is why I'm doing a lot of work for autistic children to advocate on their behalf. Because I got tired of trying to change the professionals, the therapeutic landscape, but I do my best. But okay, I lost my train of thought. What was that?
The special interest, Maisie, you were talking earlier about parents not spending so much time on the things that we can't do, like the things that can't, on the negative and things, like pursuing and supporting the passion, spending more time on
right.
basically.
And I remember what I was going to say. You know, you were talking about growing up gendered.
Yes, yes.
And
girls.
how I think for autistic women it's very difficult to get a proper diagnosis, that we spend our lives being misdiagnosed, you know, as having bipolar or anxiety disorder and all these things, where nobody really peg us as being autistic, because that's classified more as a like male, you know. So but there, I hope now with social media and all this wonderful autistic advocates, you know, I hope things are changing slowly.
It's a slow process, because I would imagine, I don't know the statistics at all, but it's still, there are still a lot of teenagers and young autistic women that are being diagnosed as being depressed, and you know, the other things that you were mentioning, and it seems like such a tremendously painful job to get to the point where the diagnosis is complete or correct. And so and I don't have the experience of having boys, so I don't know what it would be like in terms of getting the diagnosis, you know, for a boy on the spectrum.
Well, boys get diagnosed earlier.
That's still the trend, is it?
Yeah. I mean, the rate is still 4-to-1 more boys than girls diagnosed with autism. You know, but I think things are changing. The clinician who diagnosed me is actually in Canada.
Oh, wow.
And she was awesome.
May I ask you, Macy, what age were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
yeah, but I kind of knew along the way because of family history and you know, so because as part of getting diagnosed, you have to fill out a very complete like family history.
Wow.
You know, and I had to go back and interview people who knew me as a little girl, talk to my brother, and you know, hear people's comments. And these people did not know anything about autism. I just asked them, okay, tell me what you remember of me when you were little. And it was very interesting because that picture of how I was described is very similar to like how like my kid was when he was younger. It's like we clearly share this very similar neurology, and I think a lot of parents are like that. They actually share very similar neuro differences, you know. And but you know, it's like
as well,
neurodiversity has been here forever. It's not like it's a new thing.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's not a new thing.
Yes, it's not like it's the latest trendy thing that's just popped up in the last 10-20 years. There's autism has been around, you know, forever.
Yes, exactly. So I think now it's like on every company's website, like we're company like a full inclusion friendly, but the problem is nobody really knows how to do it well.
You know? That's where you come in. That's where you come in.
I can't do it alone.
Train. I have a question coming up here, Maze. I'm just going to scroll down. Had a question. How are you diagnosed with autism? The reason is I was listening to you talk and about you were very quiet and not outspoken, and other people shined. I was diagnosed with bipolar depression. I was just wondering what they did to test you for autism. Oh, wow. That's a huge thing.
So every diagnostic clinician does it differently. Some clinicians want to see you in person. So I had to search high and low to find somebody, because most people want to have face-to-face opportunities. But I think after COVID, everybody's doing it through Zoom, but you have to be in the same state to be able to do it, because different, you know. But you go through an interview, you fill out a lot of some online tests that they provide you. You fill out a lengthy questionnaire and you do one-on-one sessions. That's in general
So
how
it's not
you
an
get the
easy
text.
process. It's not a quick process. It's
No,
at all.
and it's also very, very expensive. Very,
Oh,
very
wow.
expensive. Yeah. So many autistic adults are undiagnosed or like self-diagnosed. I think.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Do we know how many are self-diagnosed? Like
Many.
a rough like percentage? Like is it a lot?
I don't know, but many, many are self-diagnosed who just made that discovery through the diagnosis of their child. You know, when you fill out the question, I'm like, oh, that's just must be just me in there. You know.
How accurate do you think that is? Like just to play devil's advocate there, like is it?
I think it's pretty accurate because I've always had self-stim since I was little. And my self-stim involved other people, like playing people's hair with people's hair. And even my brother was like, oh yeah, I hated that when you play with my hand, you know, like every single person, like it's always been you know, the sensory differences. So I think for people, especially if they have sensory differences, they know.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
The social stuff might be like yeah, so it just comes together. Like that's why a good clinician can help you connect the dots.
Yes,
I
and
think
that's why we kind of need them, isn't it? We need them for that purpose. And
yeah,
how painful was the journey to get? Was it very painfully difficult to get?
no, because I knew beforehand.
I
just
you had processed
didn't want to spend thousands of dollars to get a label. I mean, to me, it's not really important, you know. But I think it brought, I guess, peace, if you want to call it that. It wasn't painful. It's just like connecting the dots, basically, you know, and I think it's great to be open about it and be able to have conversations with my family. Like my son would say, oh, Mom, I guess I'm socially awkward, just yet like you. I was like, yeah, that is right. You know,
you see that like it makes sense, right? The genetic, you know,
yes,
you see yourself. Sorry to interrupt, Maisie. I have a question here. He had dyspraxia. So he has the motor planning disorder or coordination disorder. So if less is better, is that true? Like, I guess, as with getting OT and PT, occupational therapy and physiotherapy, and speech should not be provided. I would say that it's controversial to say that it should not be provided.
Right.
I think I'm thinking of one of my daughters. Just is I feel that you want to still work towards positive outcomes, or like say you're aiming for more independence and that kind of thing, but at the same, but with my daughter I'm thinking like a lot of the inability to sit still, if you will, was kind of underestimated, and it's sort of like, how can I put it, like you have a child with ADHD, and so you feel they're always on the move, like, you know, like driven by a motor, or if they have combined ADHD, they're you know, the impulsivity and the attention problems. But the way I see it is, if you have a child that can't really sit, it's also to do with the sensory processing differences, SPD, like the need for movement. So from my point of view is that I know that I have a child that's, you know, craving movement, wants to be on the move.
Yeah.
So I'm going to kind of work with it, but at the same time, I still feel there was a place for some occupational therapy, or, you know, physiotherapy helped her to walk, for example. But there has to be a point where you realize what is what needs to be accepted and what you have to sort of adapt to and be flexible to. And you know, there's some people are, then they're not going to sit for lengths of time in a typical classroom. They're going to need accommodations. They're going to need set breaks. So that kind of thing, I feel that it's more sort of meeting the person halfway, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think, you know, in this, for this question, I think it sounds like the child has co-occurring conditions, and they do need to be addressed, because it just won't develop. It won't develop. I'm not saying like completely corrected, but the process of learning, like, you know, it's different, right? But my advice would be, one, if you know that you're gonna need help from a professional, like a good OT, PT, who can help you, guide you, you want to find professionals who, one, you can trust. Trust means, like, do I feel comfortable asking questions? Is that professional a good listener? Can that professional help me understand what the goal is, and have the patience to guide me? Okay, let's work on this at home. Here are the things that you can do at home. You know, because otherwise it's not a good investment, I suppose.
It's not a worthwhile relationship to have. So you need people that really are going to accommodate the needs of your child. Like, it needs to bring about more positive outcomes, whatever goes up, but they need to be very clear about what are the goals, and do you all agree? Are you on the same page as to what the goals are?
But a lot of professionals, I find, and I've been down that road too, where I thought, oh, I want to work with this professional, you know, waited for a long time, even went as far as getting the assessment done. And I realized after a few sessions, man, this is not going to be working, because that person is not a good guide to me. You know, so, you know, whenever you bring in professionals, you know, you want to make sure, I don't care if that person has a great reputation, long waiting list, if that person is not a good listener to you, and that person doesn't see you as part of the therapeutic goals, because we are we are the ones who have to we have to be, you know, taught. We have to be in the driver's seat. Don't do it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to
work as a team. And you need good communication. You need to feel that they are letting you know everything. And it's fair to say, would you say it's fair to say that you just go with your gut instinct? Like,
yes, because it's not just paying somebody. It's, you need to develop the relationship, especially if your child has apraxia, dyspraxia, you know, eating disorder and things like that, or your child needs medication, you know, those are very complex, and it's ever changing. So you really need the team. But you have to be able to feel comfortable to communicate, to ask questions, to make adjustments. You need a professional who can set boundaries, but setting boundaries goes both ways. Like, for you to say that's not going to work for us, you know, do you have other ideas? Or you also need a clinician who would tell you, okay, let's slow down, why don't we work on this piece, you know? So that's a relationship, a respectful relationship, and we really need that. And if you don't have that with this professional, don't do it, because guess who has to go through it? Guess who has to take that pill?
Yes, exactly. It's like, it's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because it's just, everyone is so different, and and it's the reality is that certain people are going to need more supports in certain ways than others.
Right.
But the reality is that we have, as parents, we're put in a role where we have to make difficult decisions and learn to advocate for our children, and that's an exhausting thing, Maisie, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, and it's hard to advocate the right way, and that's why I think if your child knows that, you know, I am good the way I am, I think that's where then you can get better. You can understand the picture better, I suppose, right? Because I mean, ideally, if your child can say, like, okay, I'm done with that goal. My son went to my son is a sensory eater. So he's one of those kids who will not eat.
Oh, wow.
He will not eat when he was younger, and we enrolled him in a group sensory exploration, like what was it called? Like they all learn how to eat together. Try new foods together. Like all these boys. Yeah, exactly. And it was funny because within that group, he was successful, actually. He was able to taste, touch new foods and things like that. And then so therapeutically, his OTs, they were saying, oh, he's doing great. You know, he's very successful here. And then we practice at home. And then we practice at home.
Different at home, I guess, right? I was going to say.
Yeah, he practiced.
Do you feel it was more effective because he had this sort of feeling that he wasn't alone, and then you know, like exactly. The peers doing the
peer
on
modeling.
The same page. Yes.
Yeah. So finally he said to me, okay, Mom, I think I got this. He said, I know how to like try new foods, you know, and he had like a checklist. So what I love about this place, the kids were involved in the process, and their voice and opinions were very much part of it. Right. So he said, okay, I'm going to learn how to eat naked chicken, because he only eats breaded chicken. So he's going, okay, I think I'm done with this, because so I know I have to learn how to eat like plain chicken, and he's still learning how to eat that. But that's what I mean. Ideally, if your child can be part of the process, that's the ideal.
Yes.
And I'm not saying just verbally being able to say it, but just to show you in some ways that it's beneficial, that it's helping for them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's but the comment here is that the team, it's basically about
it's a team,
finding the right people when you feel there is a real need for it, and you can't do it alone in so many other ways. In so many ways, right? In terms of emotional support for us as well, and it's just in so many ways there is a time and a place for the right people. And so I think it's just let things unfold. We're not teaching skills. We're helping to integrate the goals. That's the hard part. I think teaching skills easy, but to help our loved ones own the skills and be motivated, that's the tough part. That is actually interesting. So it's about getting to the point where they know what their skills are, what their strengths are. They kind of are in a good place with it, and they're able to express that, so that they can actually find the job that meets their goals. So go like a coach and like a motivator. You're there to inspire them and like help take the load off the families a little bit and steer them in the direction they want to go in, basically.
Right. Make sure you just trust your team and develop that relationship, because otherwise nothing sticks. It's just a patch.
Okay, so everyone, I'm just wondering if there are any more questions.
Yeah.
That was your opportunity to ask Maisie. And originally, like we went off track a little bit, but I don't think it was totally unhelpful in any ways. I think that it's important to discuss the female experience and how that relates to the workplace. And like, do you get a lot of complaints at all from young women, or is
All
it like
the
just
time?
a mix?
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because I get texts all the time of, I just lost my job. I'm so excited to get a job finally. And then 2 months later, I lost that job. Or like, can you help me find a job? Like, how do I do this? How do I do that? It's like all the time. It's heartbreaking.
Are there, like, I guess it's controversial to ask this question, but are there common things, like, is there, I don't know, how can I put it? Is there more like high turnover, like
retention?
Yeah.
Yes, very low retention. Or I know that autistic people will always have to start from just very basic level.
And
even though their ability is much higher.
So are you finding, I want to be respectful the way I say it, so I really thank you for that, but like, are you finding that they have to fight harder and more, sort of starting from scratch if they lose their job, and it's like back to square one kind of?
Because if a company lets you go, you know, and you don't see it coming, a lot of times that's the issue. That's the sad part, is that the autistic person doesn't see it coming. That's the sad part.
Demoralizing.
I know.
Very upsetting.
I know. So there has to be a different way, you know, that self-advocacy, knowing how to do it, and also educating businesses, so no one should hide, really. You know,
there almost needs to be some kind of mediation service that can become
better education, better resources for potential, you know, the companies, all kinds of all size businesses, to really understand that. Because understanding the neurodiversity paradigm better.
Because it seems to me that maybe in a lot of cases it's almost like there's an overreaction, and there is a way of preventing disasters, because someone is always getting hurt. And it's
and I think when it comes to self-advocacy, it goes both ways, right? For the autistic employee to be able to advocate, you've got to shine. I mean, you get this job, you're excited, and you know you could do it, you know, and you have to show. And people don't always know how to show what your strength is, because you're autistic, you know, and you know, and then if you're a boss, business owner, you know, you might sense that this person is a bit quirky or unique, you know, but you're afraid to ask, hey, what's going on? Is there any way, how are you doing? Is there any way that we can support you? How can we help you learn quicker? You know, just both ways, to know that they can be open to each other. I think that would be tremendous. It would be tremendous to be able to do that.
We need you at both ends, basically, don't we? Because honestly, the companies, they need the support too, to know how to sort of discuss and have like a good relationship with.
People are afraid to get into trouble, I think. You know, people are afraid of being accused of, you know,
all kinds of
being discriminative towards, you know, so, but I think we have to somehow be allowed, we need to know that we can speak the truth both ways, you know, because otherwise
it's difficult, because it takes time to build a certain level of trust and respect, I guess. And then the problem with, I guess, with a lot of jobs, I would imagine there's a certain probation period, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
it takes some individuals longer to show what they can do, and that seems so kind of unfair to some children,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the accommodations we need in general are can be universal. Like, for example, for me, if it's for me, I know that a quiet environment would be helpful
Yes.
because I get distracted and the noise really bothers me.
Yeah.
Like clutter really bothers me.
Oh yes, me too. And I live
You
with
know.
I live with a certain amount of clutter with kids, but that's a
Yeah.
different level. And
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, we all
at
have
work you have
things.
to produce. At
Yes,
work you have to produce.
yes. So trigger,
Yeah.
the triggers, and those are huge because it's going to affect your
Right.
productivity, and it's
Right.
there's a genuine
Yeah.
issues that need to be addressed. So not easy.
Not easy. The social expectations, communication expectations. You know,
That's the big one. That's a big
it's
one.
a big one. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think if we just respect each other, you know, and support each other and treat each other well, I think it could be better for everyone. You
And
know,
not minimize the things that people tell you are difficult for them. Not
Yeah.
minimize we, because at the end of the day we are all human beings,
Right.
And
Right.
so that's
Exactly. Exactly.
so,
Yeah.
is there
Excellent.
anything else you wanted to add at all? I think
No, I think we talk about different things. We talk about my projects.
yes,
You know, I think for parents, my parent coaching is at Macy's Atantio. And if you are parents of preteen, teen, and young adults, or if you're an adult, autistic adult, it's ASD Career Pathways. And I hope to move along in the project somehow.
Yes. Good luck.
Next year.
Best of luck.
Thank
I know
you.
it's very
Thank you.
difficult times to like be doing everything you need to do. It's like,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it will.
Yeah, but
eventually.
if there are parents here who wants to brainstorm with me, if there are like clinicians here, therapists who wanna learn more, come on board and just understand about neurodiversity paradigm better, for teachers as well, get in touch with me, because I love doing that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's great. That was going to be my next question. See, I was going to ask you, like, is it okay for people to message you? I don't want you getting bombarded.
Absolutely.
And can you remind everyone where you can be found, like your website, and then?
So our website is autismcareerpathways.com with an S.
Yes.
I am most consistent with my posts through Instagram. I don't so much do Facebook. On Facebook, I just upload like articles and things like that. So I think that's it. I'm on LinkedIn also. But when it comes to just practical tips, I think I just do it on Instagram.
Yes. How would you describe yourself in a nutshell, like career-wise?
How do I describe? Okay, so I am a parent coach. I am basically a coach. That's the thing that I love to do, is coaching, and I'm a curriculum designer from the lens of a neurodivergent.
Yes.
Very
important perspective that we need. So I feel like, honestly, with yourself and people like you, the future is a lot brighter. Don't you feel?
Well, but I can't do it alone. I'm starting to, like, this is the thing about turning 50. I feel like,
oh no,
it's it's a good thing. I'm very blessed, but I feel like it's a lot of pressure because I'm very impatient, but I know I can't do this alone. And I have so many projects and ideas, which is part of my ADHD. But it gives me anxiety not to be able to move forward for whatever reason. So anyone want to seriously jump on board with me and go down the rabbit hole together with me and actually work together, I would love that, because we can't do it alone.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
For one person can make a difference, but it's an overwhelming topic.
It takes it's very slow. It's very slow. I'm talking about research.
Yes.
I'm talking about building platform, building apps, building relationships, I think, educating the right way, not hiding, and the list goes on and on and on, you know, and
you
exactly.
You are brilliant. You are
thank you.
tenacious. You are doing so much. You are, honestly, I don't know how you're remarkable for all the things that you have done already, and the fact that
thank you.
You know, please, you know, stay in touch, and we will
absolutely
share your projects, because honestly, like, I would love to help spread awareness as to what nonprofit organizations are doing. I think the work is very important.
Great. Thank you.
Know,
yeah.
And, you know, and this is it's all about spreading awareness and about supporting one another. And
we're in this together. And if for anyone here, if you're doing something and you're doing it well, you've got to share it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know,
like,
and
tag us.
Yeah, tag us. Absolutely. Exactly.
You know? Like,
tag each other.
Instagram is overwhelming sometimes, because you realize how many people are out there, but it's really like it's life changing in a good way. The connections.
Yeah, exactly.
It's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.